up, guys? So today I'm going to be showing you how to flush your brake system, and all you're going to need is some brake fluid, this one-man brake flushing kit. I got this for like $10 at AutoZone. You could also do this with two people, but one person is pretty easy. You're also going to need 2 wrenches, maybe even one if your bleeder nipples are the same size, and you're also going to want a syringe. And just to show you the types of results you could get, this is my old brake fluid. You can see how dirty and nasty this is, and this is my brake fluid after I cleaned it. So you could see in there that it's pretty clear. And you may be wondering why you want to replace your brake fluid or flush it, and a couple reasons for that. One, your brake pedal could be pretty squishy, and when you push down the brake pedal, it could go halfway before it engages. That's what I had. So I flushed the brake system so I get all the air bubbles out of there, and so I could have some nice new fluid so the brakes feel a lot better. You may also want to flush it in case you want to get rid of any rust or corrosion, and you also want to flush it because brake fluid does tend to get water over time in it. It's called hydroscopic, and so that causes your brake system to boil and probably even fail if you don't flush it every couple of years. Like, you should flush it at least 3 to 5 years, so you know your brake fluid is nice. Another things you're gonna want is a jack, so you can jack up your car, a tire iron, and a jack stand just for safety. You don't have to take off the wheel off, but it's a lot easier when you do. And yeah, another thing to note, you don't have to buy this. You just want say a plastic bottle. You can cut a hole on the top of the cap and run a hose to there, and you're gonna want to make sure this hose fits on your bleeder nipple, and so none of it leaks out. You're also gonna want to know what type of brake fluid your cars need, because every car requires different brake fluid. For my Mustang, my 96 F-150, and my 96 Bronco, you're just gonna need some brake fluid .3. I got the full synthetic version, but you're gonna want to research to see what type of brake fluid you're gonna need for your vehicle. So we're just gonna be taking some out with our syringe. See how nasty that looks? It's all brown. New brake fluid is usually clear. We're just gonna put some in our bottle so we could use it later. So we didn't take out all of the brake fluid, we left some in there just because when we go to fill it up, we don't get any air bubbles in our brake system. And so I just have it a little bit full, so we go to flush it, and we start tapping the brakes. Air bubbles don't go in. Instead, it's sucking old brake fluid in instead of air bubbles, but it's okay because during the flush, the old brake fluid would get flushed out anyways. We're just gonna fill it up to the max, and then we're gonna go start flushing our brakes. So before we jack it up, we're just gonna want to loosen our lugs. When you loosen your lugs, you're gonna want to go in a start pattern, and now we're ready to jack up our car. So when you go to jack up your car, for a car, you're gonna want to go on this thin rail. This is called a pinch rail, and this is where you can jack it up. There's a little notch right here, and that's the jacking point. But when you go to jack up a different vehicle like my truck right here, you're gonna want to jack it up on a frame or the axle. So when you go to jack this one up, you're gonna want to go on the axle right here, or in the front, you're going to want to go on this axle right here or the frame. So when you go to flush your brake system, you always want to start off on the wheel farthest from the brake cylinder. So in case our brake cylinder is closest to a left front, so we're gonna want to start on our right rear tire. Now right now we're just gonna go and jack it. So before you jack it, get a wood block, put it behind one of your wheels, and then go to jack up the wheel you're gonna start on. So we're just gonna go under the pinch rail, start jacking it up. Want to get it just high enough so your wheel's up in the high. You don't have to take your wheels off, but it's a lot easier when you do, and this will just give me some better camera angles for you guys. So next we're just gonna slide our jack stand under for safety. Then we're gonna slowly lower our jack under, but still have the jack resting against the frame. So now we have our jack, our stand, and a block, so we're safe. Next we're gonna want to remove our wheel. Now we can remove our wheel. You can slide your wheel under for extra safety while you work. I'm not gonna do that because I already have our jack stand and the wood block. So next you're gonna wanna find your caliper. My caliper is right here. And then we're gonna go look behind it and find our bleeder valve. So my bleeder valve is right here. And then we just remove this little rubber boot and we crack this open. But before we do, we're gonna connect our little hose and our little bottle up there before we crack it open. All right guys, one more thing to note. If you guys do have drum brakes, the procedure is gonna be the exact same. You still have a bleeder valve. It's just gonna be right here. So you can still do this on drum brakes. And yeah. All right guys, so I connected my hose up to the nipple right here, and then I routed the hose up so when I stop pushing the brakes and the brake fluid goes back, the air bubbles stay trapped on the top and they don't go back into the brake system. So the first way you could do this is called the two-person method. So you have one person in front and they're gonna push the brake slowly. When you say okay, you're gonna crack it open. You say okay, they're gonna push it down slowly, and then you say okay and you close it, and then they let go of it, and you just repeat it until you start to see this brake fluid turn clear. So we're gonna crack it open. Okay. Now we're gonna close it. Okay. Now we're gonna crack it open. Okay. See that brake fluid going in? It's starting to look a little bit clearer. Close it. Okay. Now we're gonna we're just gonna keep repeating this until we see the brake fluid go clear. So you can see our little bottle's getting full. So right now I'm gonna empty it into a different container, but I'm not gonna empty it all the way. I'm gonna leave some in there, so about that much. And then I'm also gonna go top off my brake fluid so the brake cylinder doesn't run dry, and then we just did all that work for nothing. So I didn't empty it all the way. And right now I'm just gonna top off my brake fluid really quick. So you want to pour this in nice and smoothly so you don't get air bubbles like I just did right now. But you just want to pour it in smoothly. And if you do spill some, you want to clean it because this stuff will corrode metal and it'll strip your paint. So as you can see, the brake fluid's pretty clear now. That means the whole line is flush right now. So we're just gonna put our wheel back on, and then we're gonna go onto the left rear because that's the second farthest away from the brake cylinder. Then we're gonna do the right front, and then we're gonna do the left front. So right now we're on our last caliper, so we're just gonna crack it open. And I'm gonna show you guys the last method, which is the one-person method. So you're just gonna crack it open. You're gonna go inside and push the brakes about 5 times, and then you're gonna want to check up on your bottle, and once it's filled, you're done. And I already started doing this, so my brake fluid's pretty clear. So once my bottle fills up, I'm gonna be done. So I'm just gonna go push the brakes slowly about 5 to 10 times, and then I'm gonna close the valve, and then I'm done. All right then, so the bottle's filled, and you can see my fluid's pretty clear. So now I'm just gonna close up. You're just gonna get it hand tight. You don't want to over tighten this and break it. Now let's say you go to crack open your valve and nothing comes out, what you're gonna want to do is unscrew this whole thing, and you're gonna want to see if it's gummed up by possibly rust or corrosion or anything. And if that is the case, you're gonna want to replace that bleeder valve and get a new one. You're gonna want to bleed the brakes good so you get all that corrosion or rust out of there. Alright guys, so we just finished up. So next you're gonna want to remove your jack stand, lower down your car, and then you're gonna want to torque down your wheels to be safe. And now I'm just gonna top off my brake fluid really quick so it's at the proper level. How clear that brake fluid is. So this is how we look before we flushed it out. It's all black and nasty, and now it looks all clear. So next you're just gonna want to drive around, and your brake pedal should be really stiff and hard, and you're gonna want to make sure everything feels right.